So think about the physical sensation of, holding a controller during a Mario game.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Right, like your heart is racing,
Yeah.
you're physically leaning into the turns on the couch, and you are actively driving that momentum. But what happens when you take that controller away?
Right, when you force someone to just sit back and watch that exact same kinetic chaos unfold on a screen.
Exactly. And that transition from being an active player to a passive observer is the perfect lens for what we're exploring in today's deep dive.
Which is, of course, the Super Mario Galaxy movie.
Yeah, our mission today is to figure out if this massive 2026 sequel actually levels up as a standalone piece of cinema, or if it's entirely coasting on brand recognition.
And looking at the sources we have, I mean, the divide is just wild.
It really is. It just pulled in a massive $372 million global opening, but critics and audiences are, they're basically watching two completely different movies.
Visually, I mean, it is an undeniable spectacle. They've moved the core cast. So Mario, Luigi, Peach, and the new additions, Rosalina and Yoshi, out of the Mushroom Kingdom and into deep space.
Which looks incredible. Games Radar Plus praised the animation, calling it this 100-minute sugar rush.
Yeah, they did. But then on the flip side, The Guardian looked at those exact same cosmic landscapes and dismissed the whole thing as a bland screensaver.
Wait, really? A screensaver?
A bland screensaver, yeah.
That feels unnecessarily harsh. I mean, if the filmmakers are trying to adapt a video game, shouldn't the goal just be to replicate that breathless fun of playing it?
Well,
Does a movie actually need emotional depth if its main goal is just to simulate a video game? Critics demanding profound cinema from Mario bouncing off planets seem to, fundamentally misunderstand what you're paying a ticket for.
I actually have to challenge that a bit.
Okay, go for it.
The issue isn't necessarily that critics are demanding high art, it's more about the underlying mechanics of storytelling. See, in a video game, player agency creates the stakes.
Right, because you're in control.
Exactly. If Mario falls off a ledge, you feel a jolt of tension because you made a mistake. But when you remove the controller, you remove that interactive tension.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Right. To replace it, a film has to use character arcs to make you actually care. But the plot here, which is basically just Bowser and Bowser Jr. escalating things again, is heavily driven by exposition.
Yeah, it just tells you what's happening.
Yeah, instead of showing characters making difficult choices. And that's exactly why a 100-minute sugar rush can eventually feel hollow. Fast pacing works brilliantly for younger audiences to prevent boredom, but treating a movie purely as a playable experience kind of limits its narrative impact.
I see what you mean. The visual momentum is doing all the heavy lifting there. But I would argue that for the older crowd, the nostalgia does the rest of the work.
Oh, without a doubt.
Because with creator Shigeru Miyamoto so heavily involved, they're clearly doubling down on celebrating the gaming legacy. You've got the energetic voice actors returning, Chris Pratt, Jack Black.
And Jack Black's Bowser is basically carrying the comedic way of the entire film.
He totally is. But even with all that fan service, there are some really fascinating gaps. You highlighted the orchestral score in your notes before we started.
I did, yeah. Because it's objectively a strong, massive, epic arrangement. But the Washington Post pointed out this really crucial flaw.
Which was?
It significantly underutilizes the iconic original melodies from the games.
Which is such a strange choice for a movie built entirely on celebrating a legacy. Why sideline the music everyone immediately recognizes?
It seems like they were trying to force it into a traditional Hollywood blockbuster mold. By smoothing out those quirky Nintendo hooks into generic sweeping orchestrations, they actually stripped away some of the emotional resonance that longtime fans crave.
That's a great point. It highlights that tension between being a pure Mario product and a conventional summer blockbuster.
Exactly. For non-fans, that reliance on Easter eggs can feel a bit hollow.
And yet, despite the narrative voids and the musical missteps, they made $372 million in the single weekend.
The critical panning literally bounced right off of them.
It really proves that the Mario brand completely transcends traditional film criticism.
It does. Because they have that bulletproof financial success, Nintendo now has a blank check.
Oh yeah, and they are not wasting time. The film features 2 post-credit scenes that explicitly tease new characters, laying the groundwork for a Marvel-style Nintendo cinematic universe.
Which is a massive structural shift. Marvel built its empire by making audiences invested in character flaws like Tony Stark. Nintendo is trying to build a similar interconnected empire, but purely through kinetic energy and brand nostalgia.
So as you look over these reviews and decide whether to grab a ticket, Here's a question to chew on. As Nintendo builds this massive movie ecosystem into a third, fourth, or fifth film, will that sugar rush of gaming nostalgia sustain a cinematic universe, or will the audience eventually demand a story that can hold its own weight without a controller?
It's definitely something to think about.
Got any thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions or favorite moments in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think.
Same here.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more reviews and content on the latest news, movies, dramas, and books.
And hit the bell icon so you won't miss any new updates.